Hey guys, how are y'all tonight? This is Moments with Mimi. My name's Emily, and my favorite name I'm called is Mimi. I know there's a glare, y'all. I'm trying. Anyway, I wanted to do a story time tonight and just kind of go over some things with y'all, some things I've been through over the last few months, and just help y'all to get to know me a little bit better. And I have so much joy in my heart right now, and a few months ago I didn't. A month ago I didn't. In fact, I had a lot of darkness in my life. Um, I've been a child of God. I've been a Christian for years, but even as a Christian, we can have so much depression and the spirit of depression in our life that we can have darkness in our heart and darkness in our life. So anyway, so let's back up to a few months ago. I just started, I had been having some depression, but it got really, really bad where all I wanted to do was lay in my bed. And I have grandchildren, and I was making excuses. It's not that I didn't want to see them, but I did not want to pull myself out of the bed. And I was just not even on Sunday. I wasn't getting up. I was just wanting to watch TV on church on TV. And so thank God for church on TV, because that was the church I was getting. And then it got to where I wasn't even doing that anymore. And I would drag myself to work, but I was starting to get sick. I was physically getting sick. I was having migraines all the time. I was sick a lot. Oh, an acorn just fell on my car. It scared me. So I stopped and parked in this little parking lot so I could just go ahead and talk to y'all. It was easier for me to park and talk than it was for me to drive and talk. And I just kind of wanted to do this, just me and y'all, before I get home. So anyway, so that went on for a few months. And, like I said, to be honest, it went on for several months where I was just extremely depressed. And my family knew I was. And I think they kept kind of thinking that I was taking too much medication or something. And now, don't get me wrong, I've been on some antidepressants, but I wasn't taking more than the doctor was prescribing me by any means. I just think that maybe what I was on had been taken for a long time, and it just wasn't working for me anymore. So anyway, during that time, I changed positions at work. I've told y'all before that I work in the health industry, and I work at a big health group, and I was working in primary care, and they moved me to urology. And I love working in urology. I love the doctor I work for. I love the nurse I work with, the other nurse I work with. And so but it's just a lot to learn. It's just a whole lot to learn. So I started just kind of feeling defeated. It was taking me a long time to learn it, because I was feeling, because when you're feeling depressed, you can't focus. It's hard to focus, and it just takes longer to process things and longer to learn things. So I was having a lot of headaches and getting physically ill. Just having trouble getting out of the bed, those kind of things. So anyway, so one day I was at work. I had COVID, and the week after that I was at work, and there's some days that Tiffany, see, I'm a medical assistant, so I do everything the nurses do, but there's a few things more that Tiffany does that I don't do. Tiffany's an LPN, so her and the doc were at the hospital doing procedures that day at the hospital, and I was there by myself, and I was behind on everything because I had been out sick that week before, and it was just, it had come down on me enough. Like, this had been going on several months, and I felt the weight of the world on me. Oh, this is moving. I felt the weight of the world on me, and y'all, I'm sorry if this has been shaking. I'm so sorry. And I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, I was done. Like, I just couldn't do it. So I called my daughter and finally reached out to her. My daughter's been through some types of, a little bit of depression and stuff. And I felt like she would understand. So I called her and talked to her. And I was like, I need some help. And I was crying, and I'm like, I need some help. I can't do this anymore. And I actually did tell her that I had some dark thoughts, and I've been to some dark places. And I said, I don't think I would ever do anything because I love my family too much, but I scared myself. And because, when we get to those places, we're not fighting our own selves. We're not fighting flesh and blood, y'all. We're fighting demons from hell. And they don't want us to be happy. They want to steal our joy. and we've got to fight. We've got to fight to keep that joy. And at that moment in time, I was fighting a losing battle, okay? And I was scared. So I didn't scare myself to I still felt like I would never do anything, but at the same time, those thoughts were creeping in, and that's what scared me, that I even went there. So, I went and talked to my supervisor, and she got me in a car and took me to the hospital, and within probably 15 minutes of being at the hospital, they came in and stripped me of everything. This big girl comes in, and she's like, I'm Sergeant so-and-so, do you know what's going on? And I'm like, well, am I going to a hospital? And she said, yeah. And at that time, they didn't know know where I was going. And I just barely had enough time to call my family, call my husband, and say, look, they're fixing to send me to a hospital, and I don't know where I'm going. And it was kind of scary. And so they, like I said, they literally stripped me of everything, and I had to put on these. Now, y'all, this was just a few weeks ago. I had to put on these scrubs and everything, and there was nothing in the hospital room. And there was this little guy sitting out the door, and it took me a while to realize he was there to watch me. They took my phone away, everything. So then I was there for a couple hours, and then they finally they had an ambulance come to pick me up, and they sent me to, they said they were going to send me to Shreveport, to a hospital in Shreveport. They strapped me to the gurney, like ankles, wrist, everything, strapped me down to the gurney, and let me tell you, that was a trip and a half, because that girl driving that ambulance was scaring the mess out of me. They were doing a lot of road constructions between where I was and where I was going, and it was about a 2-hour drive. And I mean, my God, I thought we were never going to get there, and my back was killing me, because there was like the way the gurney was, and my back was not meeting, and so she was going on all these bumps, and I don't know. Anyway, my back was just really hurting. So we finally got there, and when I got there, the people at this hospital were so nice. They were so sweet. And the lady said, do you want to put your shoes on? And I was like, because they had put the hospital socks on me. And I said, I didn't think I could wear them. She said, well, you can just take out the shoestrings. And then they made me take the rubber band out of my hair. It didn't make any sense. What am I going to do with a hair rubber band? So then they did all that, and she went and got me some Diet Coke, because I was dying for a Diet Coke. And Diet Coke's my thing. Speaking of that, oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. See, I don't know where this. Okay, I figured it out. It's over here. When I put my hand over it, I finally figured it out. So I need to look this way. So anyway, they were, like I said, when I got over there, they were really nice. So long story short, I'm not gonna make that part real long. I stayed there 9 days, and the people that I met there were wonderful. Like, I couldn't say enough about the patients that were there. Like, they were kind of like just us. They were like you and me. They were just dealing with a lot in life. I met this one guy there that, like, he was a little bitty guy, and he had like tats all over his face, and you could tell he had been in prison before. And he would probably have been scary if he wasn't so little. He was a little bitty thing, and he was real quiet. Well, I mean, there was this other guy there that he was an alcoholic, and he said it just snuck up on him over the last few months. Like, he never thought he was going to be an alcoholic, and it just snuck up on him. And so he was there trying to get cleaned up, from alcohol. And I was just there for depression, and trying to get my medicine straightened out. Well, this little guy was so quiet, and he said he had probably been in prison, and when you're in prison, sometimes, especially if you're little, it can just really defeat you, or whatever. Well, come to find out, we finally got to talking to this guy, and he had been ran over. He said that he was a Christian, and he said that he said he knows he was not living right, and he got high one night and got out on the road and got ran over, and it broke his ribs, and he had a trach. He had all kinds of damage. And when I tell you this guy was little, like, I'm talking about, he was not 5 foot tall. Like, he was a little bitty guy, and he couldn't talk very loud because of the trach, and that's why he didn't talk much. But he had tattoos all over him, all over his face. Like I said, you could tell he had been in jail. And I said, do you understand what you could do for God, the testimony you have? Like, that's unreal, the testimony you have. So anyway, so, you know, I met some really neat people in there, some really unique people. And like any of these people, like if I'd have just met them out on the street, I probably would have never talked to them. I mean, there was a few I might would have, but most of them I probably would have never talked to them. So it's really neat going in a place like that and meeting people, just different kinds of people that you get to be friends with. And, you know, a lot of them we shared our names so we could be friends on Facebook when everybody got to wherever they was going. But anyway, so I was there about 9 days, and I just can't say a whole lot about the counseling part. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you where I went, but they were just throwing medicine at me, like, "Oh, you're still depressed. You're still stressed out. Oh, well, here, take this. Take some more of this. Take some more of this. Take some more of that." And I was like, I just don't feel like this is helping me any, and it's not even giving me time to, you know, for any of the medicine to really work or whatever. And then so all of a sudden one evening, really late in the evening, this girl's like, "Can you come to my office?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she said, "You're going home tomorrow." Like, what? I feel like, I mean, they just upped my medicine again. Like, I feel like the medicine hasn't had time to work. I mean, whatever. And at first I was really upset about it. And then I went in my room and I really prayed about it, because I was even talking to my daughter, and she goes, "No, no, no, no. I'm calling them. You're not ready to come home," you know, and all this. So I just prayed about it, and I just got perfect peace about it. And I realized that I just needed to come home, and that I realized I could finish healing at home, that I would be fine. And so I got out of the hospital, and then it was probably about 24 hours later, I was at home. And it was in the middle of the day, and I told my husband, I said, "I can't walk." He goes, "What do you mean you can't walk?" I was like, "My legs are so weak they will not hold me up. I can't walk." And he said, "Okay." And like, we started kind of getting tickled about it, because I don't know, like, sometimes when stuff like that is awkward, it's like you're just tickled about it. And the best way I can describe it is like trying to, like your drunk friends, you know, that you're trying to hold up and they can't walk. Hold on, I'm gonna switch hands, y'all. This is getting tiring. Hold on just a minute. Okay. You know, like your drunk friend that you're trying to hold up, and they're like wiggly wobbly. My legs were wiggly wobbly, and they would not hold me up. So it was kind of scary in a way, but then in another way, it was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, should I call the ambulance? Like, I don't know what to do. So we finally decided to go ahead and call the ambulance, because, I mean, honestly, I could not walk. So we called the ambulance. Sometimes I talk so fast, I can't even pronounce words. So we called the ambulance, and they came and picked me up, and they got me to the hospital, and they started running all these tests, and they started doing a lumbar puncture. And they couldn't get there's several parts to it, and then one part they couldn't get through my back or whatever, and they stopped. And then they wound up not even finishing it, because none of the blood work showed some of the tests that they were doing. And then within the day or so, they were like, they just can't find anything wrong with me, you know. And and then this doctor I had was like a female doctor. No offense to any females, I like females, but to be honest with you, I would rather have male doctors. I would rather have male bosses. I'd rather work with males. I'm just being honest. I just think sometimes females are too emotional to have. I don't know. I'm probably fixing to get some people mad, but anyway, so this female doctor was just kind of wanchy. I'm just being honest. She just was kind of wanchy, and she just didn't. I just feel like she just didn't have my best interest at heart. And I think some of it was due to the fact that I was in the mental hospital the week before, and I don't know if she fully believed me. And so she was kind of rude to me, and she came in my room and she told me that she felt like it was what was that word she used? She didn't say I made it up, but she said I can't remember what she said now. What was that word she used? I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, it was all in my mind, basically, what she said. And I said, "Oh, hey," I got really upset about it. And I said, "If it's all in my mind, then you take this IV out." I had a catheter and everything. "Take the catheter, take everything. Let me get up and walk." And then she starts going, No, we can't do that. You have to wait on physical therapy." I'm like, no, because you're saying it's all in my mind. If it's all in my mind, then let me walk. Just let me go home. Let me get out of here. I mean, I can walk then, right? I was just throwing one of my little redneck fits, because I was mad, because I knew that physically I could not walk. And I also started realizing things like I couldn't hold up my phone either. I couldn't do it. I didn't have, like, my arms were too weak. And I cried and cried, y'all. I was sobbing like a snotty-nosed little kid. Like, I was so upset because, y'all, I wanted to walk. And it was scary. It was so scary, you know. That I didn't want anything to be wrong with me. But at the same time, when you're in a situation like that, you're like, something's got to be wrong. I mean, this makes no sense. And then I Googled it. And, I mean, there honestly is a thing where you can be so stressed out and have so much anxiety that your body starts shutting down. And I mean, it's an actual thing. And I'm like, this just can't be. This just can't be. I mean, it can't be possible. So then, like, I had probably been in the hospital about 3 or 4 days at this point. She said, we're not going to let you go right now, because, I mean, we got to just figure all this out and blah, 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 you know, and all this. And I'm like, oh my God. She said, we're going to let physical therapy work with you. And I'm like, okay. So in the meantime, like, maybe even that same day, I don't know if it was that day or the next day, I was sitting there watching TV, and this medicine commercial came on. And it was one of the medicines that they had put me on when I was at the hospital, at the mental hospital. And I was like, and it says that it's a medicine that they give people with dementia. And they also give, at this particular commercial was about that they give it with dementia. But they also give it to patients to add to your medications you're already taking for depression. And I was like, and it said that one of the side effects was muscle weakness and muscle fatigue. And I'm like, because see, when I was in the bed laying down, I could move my legs and I could move my arms, but I had a lot of fatigue and weakness. I just was too weak to stand on my legs. I was too weak to hold up my phone. So that started making a little bit more sense. So when the nurse came in there, I asked her if I was still taking that particular medication, and she said, no, we took you off when you got here. And I said, I was on it for 9 days in the hospital. And then when I got here, y'all took me off of it. So I should start being better getting better if that's the case. And she goes, yeah, but nobody really knew anything about that medicine at the hospital. Like, they just didn't know about it. And they were kind of like, I can't never think of the word. Like, they were just kind of like pushing me off. Like, no, I mean, like, we'll look into it. Whatever. We'll just look into it. So, I Googled the medicine, and I wanted to look more into it and see, what all it causes. Well, it talked a lot about how it can cause those symptoms, and it, some of the other symptoms it caused were things that I was having going on. But the main one that I was concerned with was the fact that it caused the muscle fatigue and weakness. And, I was like, that is just crazy. And I mean, I've never had any kind of like, reaction to a medication. Like, I've never been allergic to anything. And I forgot to mention this. I can't believe I forgot to mention this because it was honestly one of the worst things. I had a migraine. I don't even think I'll ever even call another migraine a migraine. Like, I think from now on I'm just going to have a bad headache because I have never had a migraine that bad. Like, I'm not kidding you. I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. Like, I've never had a migraine as bad as that migraine. And I also think it was a side effect of that medicine. Now, I begged them to give me something to knock me out. Like, they were giving me every kind of migraine medicine you could think of. They were giving me Toradol shots. They were giving me these mild muscle relaxers, just real mild. But they wouldn't give me anything to knock me out. And nothing was working. I mean, this headache went on for 3 days. And I was begging that doctor, please do something. They were giving me freaking Tylenol. And I'm like, y'all, please, y'all don't understand. And it's like, they didn't have the headache. I had the headache. And I just don't even know if she just kept thinking that, I don't know if she even fully understood how bad I was hurting. She even came in there one time and was like, we just don't treat headaches. This is a hospital and you don't treat headaches? And I just wanted to go, wench, I bet you do treat headaches. I bet you down there in that emergency room, there's some stuff down there that'll treat this headache. And that's one of the times I felt like, and I'm just being honest, and y'all might not agree with me, and if you don't agree with me, you don't have to. But I just feel like sometimes men doctors just take more things more seriously, and just, and I just felt like if I'd had a man doctor, he would have just been more aggressive with a headache, and he would have gotten some real strong pain medicine and given it to me, where it would have just knocked me out and I could have slept through and got rid of the headache. But they never would do that. I mean, y'all, I couldn't even sleep. I probably got a handful of hours of sleep those whole nights because I couldn't go to sleep. My head was hurting too bad. They were giving me ice packs. They were giving me, I can't even remember the names of the medicines, but it's medicines for migraines that would typically should have worked. But the headache was so severely bad, it wasn't working. So then I started thinking, well, do I have meningitis? Do I have, what is this other thing going around? If you get bit by a mosquito. And they did keep asking me if I'd gotten bit by a mosquito. And I mean, not that I know of, I was running at one time a little really, really low grade fever, like 99.2, 99.3, but it wasn't consistent. Like I would run a fever, that tiny little bit of fever, and then it would go away and come back. It just, none of it was consistent. Ooh, I need to lock my door. Make sure my door's locked. So anyway, so it was just miserable, y'all. I just had a very miserable time, and I still had the headache when I went home, but it started getting a little bit better. So I don't know, y'all. It was just a very confusing, bad week. So they never did want to say that medicine was what caused it, but I fully believe that the medicine caused it. I mean, it was very scary. So this Monday, I finally got home from the hospital, and I don't remember even what day it was, because I get my days all mixed up. I can't tell you. I could not tell you how many days I was in the hospital. But I finally get home, and I had an appointment with a psychiatrist Monday. And I'm like, finally, somebody that, I'm sorry, I'm going to switch my hands around. So finally, I had an appointment with a psychiatrist, and I was kind of excited about seeing this psychiatrist because, psychiatrists, they manage your medicine. And I knew that he would be very smart about the medicine and be able to get my medicine straightened out for me. So, I want to be happy again, So, I know, y'all, I have been praying, and I know my sweet Lord Jesus is I'm putting my trust and faith in him, and I know he's going to get me through this, and I know even through all of this, it's all part of his plan. And he has to get us in a certain place at one time. He has to get us in a certain place sometimes to get us where he needs us to be. So I hope y'all can't see that. I don't know if you can or not. I have stuff popping up on my phone, and I'm scared you can see it. I hope you can't. So anyway, so I finally did go see the psychiatrist Monday, and he knows about the medicine. He was the first doctor I talked to that actually knows about it. And he said there's never going to be, we may never know exactly what caused it, but he really feels like it very well could have been that medication that caused it. It's kind of a newer medication. I'm not going to tell you the name of the medication. If you want to know the name of the medication, you can comment, and I will tell you personally the name of the medication, but I'm not going to say it on here. Okay. But I will tell you that the psychiatrist thought that there's a high possibility that it was the medication that I took, because I was on it for 9 days, and then I was in the hospital for almost a week, and I walked out of the hospital. Even the day before I walked out of the hospital, I couldn't stand up. I took PT and I couldn't stand up. So it almost left me almost as quick as it came. And even now I have so much fatigue, muscle fatigue, that like I have trouble fixing my hair. I have to do my hair, hold my hands up to fix my hair, and then I have to wait a few minutes, and then I have to do it again. I have a lot of trouble holding my arms up. I can't walk very long distances, and I had to walk to another building to go fax something. Our company's been bought out, and we're all in it's so much going on right now. Our company is multi buildings and all this kind of buildings and all this stuff. And the building that we're in right now, we didn't have our fax machine wasn't working, and I had to go to the building next door to fax, and it's walking through a big parking lot and all that, and I was about to die before I got there. I don't have any strength right now. So I'm still building my strength up. I'm still struggling, but it's not as near as bad as it was. I feel like I'm on top of the world right now, y'all. I feel so much better. Um, I have had a little bit of my medicine tweaked a little bit. I've been taking off a few things, and I just feel so much better. And I thank God that that He allowed me to go through all this, because there was something about hitting rock bottom that finally got me to a place to where I was like, I'm going to make my YouTube channel, because I finally don't care what everybody thinks, and I finally am to a place where I'm like, I don't care anymore. And it's not that I don't care what anybody thinks, okay? But one reason people are scared to make a YouTube channel or anything else is because you kind of do care what people think. It's scary. You're scared about what people are going to say. But I have been wanting to make one for so long, and it was always like, but I've gained weight. And y'all, I have. Like, I'm bigger than I've ever been. I've gained weight. Weight size, I'm bigger. And, I don't like my house. I need to fix up my house. And, there's just so many reasons. There's so many knocks against you. And, and God and the devil has stolen so much of my joy. Like, I have been robbed so much of my joy for money problems. And, I lost my dog this year. And, I haven't lost my husband. That's one thing. The country song didn't really go all out for me, because I did not lose my husband, and thank God for that. But I have got so many things to be blessed for. I mean, have so much joy. But you have to fight for joy, because Satan does not want us to have joy. Joy and happiness are two different things, and you have to fight for joy. And it is a hard fight, y'all. It is a hard fight. You have to fight for it. But I think I did a little reel this morning on Facebook, and I was just talking about how one way we can have joy is to make others happy. Like, say nice things to other people. Tell people that they have pretty eyes. Tell people that they have a pretty shirt on. Tell people that. We need to hear that. Even men. I mean, it's not flirting, y'all. I mean, if there's somebody, I'm so sorry. Hold on just a minute. Let me fix this. If there's men in your life that you see every day and work with, it's okay. It's okay to tell him that you look nice today at work or whatever. That's okay. You know the difference between flirting and just being nice. There is a big difference, and that's okay. We all need to be made to feel good. And you know what happens? If you tell somebody something good about themselves, it also makes you feel good. So it makes the endorphins in your self start firing off, and it makes you feel good. Trust me, I know. I've been there. I've done it. But the biggest thing, I think, is just to work on making yourself feel good, making others feel good, and that'll make you feel good. I read a book one time called A Woman After God's Own Heart, and when I was reading that book, my family got so sick and tired of me talking about that book. It's by Elizabeth George, and it's been years since I read it, and I'm telling you, I still remember so many details about that book. But one thing that it said that always stuck with me was, are people happy to see you coming, or are they happy to see you go? As Christians, they should be happy to see us coming. And as Christians, sometimes they're not. And that's sad. They really do need to be happy to see us coming, even if we don't like them. There's sometimes it's hard to like people, but even if we don't like them, they need to, be happy. They need to see us as joyful people. We need to be like little fairies sprinkling joy everywhere. That's what we're supposed to be doing, y'all. That's the least we can do. That is the least we can do. Sometimes it's hard to share Jesus' name. Sometimes we can at work. But the one thing we can do is live a life in a way that people look at us and go, she's different, and I want to know I want what she's got. I want to know what she's got, because she's different. And I need what she's got. Or I need what he's got. And that's how we need to live our lives. And that's how I want to live my life. I want people to notice the difference in me. And that's not hard to do. But the one thing that is hard to do is fight for our joy. We've got to fight for it. And let me tell you, the devil has been beating me at both ends. I'm telling you, y'all, he knows where my struggles are, and he has been fighting me. and it has been a fight. But I know where it's coming from, and I know where my joy comes from. And I'm not going to let him win anymore. He can't. He can't. I got too many things to be joyful for. And I just want to encourage you today to fight for your joy. And I want to encourage you to be kind, be nice. And just always remember, though, everybody's going through something. Everybody's going through stuff. And even if you work with somebody that's being mean or being unkind, y'all, they're going through stuff. There's a lot going on. And that's probably why they're acting like that. Goodness, I hope y'all cannot see this stuff coming across my phone. There's a lot of people going through stuff. So y'all just be kind, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and get off here for now because everybody's seeing me in the parking lot. I'm actually in the parking lot of where I used to work. So, I love y'all and I appreciate the support. And I'm going to close this out for now. And, I will see you tomorrow. Y'all have a good night. And, please subscribe. The people are waving at me. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and please share my video. Y'all have a good night.